So let's bring you the latest development as it relates to the Eha-Amufu killings and the case of mass graves that people had touted in the past. This again corroborates some of my reports that I have given about Eha-Amufu issue. Like I mentioned in my previous reports, for those who don't know, if you just check on my channel, you will see that I have done an extensive report on Eha-Amufu. I've done reports on Nimbo. I've also done reports on the, the killings on the fringes of Enugu State. So I needed to also add that a bishop in that axis has also corroborated some of my earlier position about what's going on in Eha-Amufu. Let's once again tell you what the story is. The Anglican Bishop of Eha-Amufu Diocese in issues of local government area of Enugu State, Right Reverend Daniel Olinya, has refuted the reports of mass killings and arson in Eha-Amufu making the rounds on the social media, noting that many mistook in Kalaha, a community in the Ebonyi State, which suffered grisly attacks in February for the Eha-Amufu, which shares boundaries with it. Bishop Olinya said that while issues of local government area in general and the Eha-Amufu communities and farm settlements in particular had suffered suspected herders attacks over the years, peaking between 2020 and 2022, when farm settlements and communities were sacked, security had since greatly improved under the Governor Peter Mbad dispensation, and Eha-Amufu people had returned to their homes. He said that unlike in December 2022 and January 2023, when many Eha-Amufu residents, including himself, escaped to townships and internally displaced persons IDP camps where they spent the Christmas and New Year relative peace and order had returned to the communities. The clergy, who fielded questions from newsmen after the briefing gave the governor on the actual security situation in Eha-Amufu, explained that apart from isolated incidents of security breach such as the recent murder of a young undergraduate, the people go to their farms. Of course, I also mentioned in my previous report that a lady was raped by herdsmen, like she claimed. Apparently what happened that on that very fateful day that they went to the farm, she and her husband was able to escape when the marauding herdsmen attacked them. He escaped, but the woman was held because she was unable to run as fast as the husband, and she was raped. Of course, I gave you that story, gave you that report. So yes, is there a security situation in Eha-Amufu to be concerned about? Yes. Is the government doing something proactively to tackle it? Yes. Is it also mixed in politics to some extent? Because people are beginning to see that, well, they might exploit that way, to weaken the strides of the governor. I mean, everybody would see everything from the political sense of view and say, well, you're not able to basically protect us. If you're not able to basically protect us, then you are not competent to lead a state. But is the government doing something in that regard? Yes, there have been a series of meetings, there have been a series of engagements from community heads, community leaders, even down to the neighboring communities. I understand that there is even a high-powered meeting between Enugu State and Benue State, so that they are able to, man that border. It's a border between Enugu and Benue State, and so it's important that these things are done. I also want to state clearly that because this is the beginning of a rainy season, I don't know if you've noticed, some of the issues that happened in the past has always been around rainy season period. Dry season, you hardly hear these things. But rainy season, just before the rains begin to start, or just about when the rain starts, you start hearing these kinds of things. What does that tell you? It's just that people are trying to chase people away from their area, from their farms, using fear. Sometimes these people do these kinds of things in order to put fear in the minds and the hearts of people, and then they don't go to their farms, and then people just overtake and overrun their farms, and then they go on with it. So I think there are things that still needs to be done regarding that, so that people can go back to their farms. Part of the reasons why food stuff has become very expensive, depending on where you're buying from, because I understand that food should have been very cheap in Eha-Amufu, but it's not as cheap as it used to, because people no longer go to their farm because they are scared of going to their farm. So the thought right now will be the next phase of this discussion, which is about speaking to the community leaders, or speaking to the communities themselves, and telling them, look, they are secured. Practically also doing things in that regard, even if it means deploying police officers to that part of the country, or better still, deploying army, in order to show the people of the community that, you know, they are safe if they actually go to the farm. That's for me the next thing that is the front burner of what the government is looking to do in that regard. Yes, there might be concerns, pockets of issues here and there, but the issues of mass grave does not exist. Okay, so for those who also missed out on the report that I did earlier about Eha-Amufu, because I also traveled to Eha-Amufu to see what's going on there, to, you know, interview the people. Okay, this is the report that I did previously, and I hope that it makes sense for everyone who really wants to listen and watch and get information about what's going on in Enugu State. All right, you can click like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I would love to always hear from you. Thank you for watching. So quite an interesting day. We just got back from issues or local government area, the epicenter of all of these issues. You know, we traveled that far, and beyond going to the Isuja local government, we also went to Eha-Amufu town and inside the villages to see firsthand what the people are facing, what exactly they're going through, and of course to actually find out whether it is true. The recent happening that just took place in Eha-Amufu, whether it is even true that these issues are happening. There are several allegations. Say there are mass graves littered around Eha-Amufu. Some say there are over 200 persons have been killed. Some say that the governor took 30 billion naira to sell that particular portion, and that's the reason why he's doing roads, you know, into that access. Some also said that there have been series of killings lately, and which has gone unabated. How true are these issues? Because again, you have to put things in context so we know where exactly the issues are, so it could be nipped in the bud. So like I also mentioned to some of you who have followed my previous story on this matter, I did an article last year on Nimbo. All right, I wrote about how technology can be used to solve the problem of farmers' herders clash in Enugu, because I experienced firsthand while I did reporting the very, you know, the fear and the anger that the people of Nimbo specifically faced. So I did an article on how technology can be used to solve the problem, and that article, amongst other things, earned me a place at the prestigious fellowship by Pan-Atlantic University, sponsored by MTN. All right, me and 20 others, me and 19 others, we're 20 in number across the country. 20 of us, the journalists across the country, were given the opportunity. The people wrote different articles, all right, about, you know, the predicament within their locality where they work that that technology can be used to solve. So I wrote about that particular issue in Nimbo. Incidentally, that period that the fellowship was about to start, because of course you've got to apply for it, that period was when that issue was happening, March and April, all right, around March and April last year. So I wrote an article about that, about specifically Nimbo, where 4 persons were killed. That's me in that video last year, where I reported extensively about Nimbo crisis and what exactly the people there are facing. The people there then told me that when the governor came for campaigning, he promised them a University of Agriculture. That all of a sudden, they started hearing Food Produce City. That Food Produce City was a part of what he told them that he was going to bring to them. And so there was this confusion as to, is it that the governor is selling their lands or giving their lands to Fulani people and opening their doors to, several persons that they don't want, basically. So at that time, that was when what they said when I did that particular report. But I think it was cleared. They said it was an urgent step. The Farm Produce City was an urgent step to tackle the menace of farmers' headed slash. And I was explaining that all encompassing a little later. The Agricultural University, apparently, the governor had said it was still in the works at the time. So when you talk about Nimbo, Zowani, Isuzo, I've done extensive reporting on that particular story. So for this particular present matter that people have said has happened 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, where they said somebody was killed, and then they said somebody was raped. Incidentally, we were able to speak to the residents of the village who complained bitterly, who were angered by all the situation that they are faced with. But then we also had the commissioner for the local government area, the local government chairman, speak about this complaints that these people had put out. Now, this is the special report brought to you by this channel. Two major attacks rocked Isuzo in 2023. The first in October and the second on December 8th, 2023. Entire communities were displaced, and even today, some remain deserted. When we visited, the local markets and farmland stood eerie abandoned. Fear of another attack continues to keep residents away. Though the exact number of casualties remains unclear, residents say it was significant enough to cause a mass exodus. Many people we spoke to shared harrowing experiences.
But I'm aware that they raped a woman in the farm settlement. The woman was working with the husband. They started pursuing the husband. So the husband have to left. They now rape the woman.
Please, make una help us. Please, make una help us.
What do you want government make them do for you?
I want make government try to shift those cow where they come damage. We are where we they get food. Make them shift. Before we they complain. See them, they chop everything where we they plant. Please make una help us to shift them.
Can you make the right sign? Can you be acquiring color? He hooked up with the way they are tired. Can you maybe G? I've been able to look with a good tire, real for them. Not only that, over 1.5 for mother, I'm you take with. Can you put AK? Can you put pump? You blow the bob and a honey. Half an underbuy when you say, I show you who ring my cocky bar. We are about your head. Yaka Hamigid, or to no man can have you. Not only that, just of recent last month, only one woman, maybe ever, or the rubo, and I did a good attack on a latter. The fly no matter no may attack to a house. Then, dear battle, the dead woman rape we. Emery admit no logo, that timber shade. So, you have here name.
One of the most gut-wrenching stories we encountered was that of a woman who was raped while working on her farm. Her husband recounted the horror. He managed to escape, but his wife could not. She was assaulted by 2 armed men who overpowered her in broad daylight.
So I hear they say the megon should megon of that that solo and the buying up for the bridge. So I give that or if you go to the kind or she moved to the category after the chair. We're gonna talk about kem de le imo bomo oru gemoro ihe o gala so akpa meka mbia ela no na to mba bali no de ke mo fro bi shanyara kan mo she mba she bia ke to ga ba ndi bad ai ba de bad de gba pi makana do bo ifunu we funu ni huli bia ai ba de gba bro funu ai am lo bere nwa o gba pipi de ngere le funu mo she fta ko fta ka le ndo no ya fo ko ai no fta ai mo le ba fo de kala mbo ni fo go don makwata boronga le goturu mala mulo suma fa ba yanya ba shim pano so mba mo mba yanya ha o gba mo no baro mbi apa mo ngamba pe yu mo kurna mo kongo se so show them to ho na bata ya charge ho to ho yu so chema yanya show them aga mo nguru e ban we o ru mo le bi ndika gam no fa o mi ta kongo no ga bobo opiam.
There has been also acknowledgement of the fact that these issues have persisted. Now, let's also continue. The woman who was raped, so fortunate that she isn't able to speak in English. So, but the husband was able to narrate a few things. But I'll just summarize it. He was just saying clearly that while they were in the farm, the Fulani headsman came and he ran. The wife was not able to run. She was caught, and unfortunately, that happened. Yes, it's confirmed that they stated clearly that it was Fulani headsman that attacked and raped this woman. So there are several other underlying issues that the local government chairman needed to address. The residents spoke to us. They expressed their anger. They expressed their fear. It was tough and it was difficult for anyone and anybody to be taken for granted or even not to listen to them, especially when issues of security of this magnitude happen in that space. So there are several things that he responded to, including the fact that the government had paid 30 billion, had collected 30 billion for the land. He also responded to the protests that happened where they said there were several graves of people there. And he also responded to other issues. So let's listen to him carefully and then we'll come back for other issues as it relates to this matter.
Issues has been in the map, in the news, for both the right and wrong reasons recently. And what I can tell you briefly is that yes, Isuzo is one of the eldest local governments in Enugu State, and then the border local government. We share border with the Benue states, and along the Benue axis we share borders with Ado local government, or Pop local government, or Badibu. And with a large expanse of vast forest land, farm settlements, unoccupied spaces. So that makes it attractive for headers having incursions from Benue axis. We've been dealing with this problem over the past 15 years. But like I told people recently, it got worse, escalated from 2020 up until now. We've been having incidents, issues, but we've also been dealing with them. There are so many things that are not out there in the public. Yeah, but when His Excellency Governor Peter Mba came into office, after 2022 December, that we had a major crisis that led to the sacking of the entire Eha-Amufu town. That crisis was partly due to the unwholesome activities of some of our people, and then partly due to the conflicts we also had with headers there. But the previous government intervened, and when His Excellency Dr. Peter Mba came into office, having got brief about this situation, he invited me. We had extensive meetings, and I briefed him on the security situation across the whole issues of not only Eha-Amufu, all the farm settlements, and after that he convened another meeting, a larger meeting that involved people from Ministry of Works, people from the agriculture sector, people from the security sector. And they were deployed here in Enugu, so we took a tour of all the farm settlements here. From Eha-Amufu, just when we get to the junction, I'll point the place to you people. From Eha-Amufu here, because it's shorter going if the road is good from Eha-Amufu here to Benue than coming from Enugu to this place. So we went through that whole axis, and at the end of the day, the governor committed to opening up the roads leading to the farm settlements, doing infrastructure, bringing produce city projects, farm estate projects, and then security too. So we started with Oboete because that Eha-Amufu axis seems to be the epicenter of the crisis, and he deployed contractors. They started construction of about 21.7 kilometer road, which when we had meeting, we thought it was just to grade and open the roads, but the governor said he was going to pave the roads. To our surprise, because that has never happened in the history of Enugu State, that roads leading to farm settlement will be paved. And these are with drainages and culverts, bridges. So that project started, and the essence of that project was to open up that farm settlement preparatory to all those agri projects. Because we have, in the past 15 years, always had this flair for kinetic approach, and it has never worked, because most times you do that and these people, you don't know where they come from. After some time you may push them back, but eventually when they plan and come back, it's always disastrous, because you have your community there, they know where you are, you don't know where they come from. So we agreed that development will drive these people away from those unoccupied spaces, and the governor started working towards that, and we were monitoring, pushing from the council here. And we had community engagements with our people, and they welcomed the idea of this project, because that has been their expectation, that government will bring projects that will help solve their problems, help their situation. So after that, we started seeing some developments this year. But from that time up until this time, what I can tell you clearly, if you do investigation from statistics, is that like I told our people, that with what the measures His Excellency Governor Peter Mba already started taking, and what we are doing in terms of security, that we're never going to have that kind of situation where a whole town will be sacked in Isuzu. Because a lot of people, religious leaders, traditional rulers, relocated from the villages, somewhere in Enugu, somewhere in other parts of the state. So, and it has never happened again since then. Yeah, occasionally we have security situations, challenges, but we've also been confronting those challenges and tackling them. There are things we have out there, and there are some we don't. Because of the sensitive nature of the security situation, And most times when we do, I brief the security agencies, both the police, the military, and the DSS. So they have all that information. So what is happening in Eha-Amufu and some other parts of Isuzu regarding the farmers' headers crisis is painful to me because I'm involved, I'm a victim. And the people who have had ugly experiences in the past are also my people. Some of them are my relations. And that's why I've always been at the forefront of security operations. I can give you evidence. You can ask the security chiefs in Isuzu. I would have, if I had known, I would have invited them here. I lead the operations. And we've been recording successes. The insecurity has been dropping. The place we came from, I believe the Enugu axis, and then in Kalago, we have our special squad up to 62-man team stationed there. They are there every morning and night, and we had an incident last year around July, kidnapping incident, somebody was killed. But after that, I was even out of office, but we made the initiative, I made the highest donation there, and since then, we've not recorded any incident of kidnapping along those areas. And same for our place, we have incidents. At times, you have confrontations in the farm settlements where these people will come in, destroy farms, the farmers will confront them and there will be attacks, at times on both sides. But the truth is that the incidents of killings and burnings of houses reduced drastically across the season. If it was 90% before, you can just be saying now that it's just about 20%. So you can see the level at which it has dropped. And these things are verifiable. But unfortunately, just about a week plus ago, I saw videos. I was here and started seeing videos in social media about people protesting. I got that information a day before that some women were going to come to my office to protest, and I told my people to get ready for them. People said they were going to stop them. I said no, leave them, they have the right to. Let's know what their grievances are. But unfortunately, we started seeing those videos. I was doing inspection when they informed me that some women are here. I came, I met them, and most of them are my people. We have community meetings together and all that. So, and what they told me, I can't recount everything here because we spent time. I spent over 3 hours with them. So if I start narrating, we may not leave here. But in summary, what they told me was that some people informed them that the cow we have in our farm settlements belong to the state government, and that I'm aware that in fact I'm collaborating with the state to keep them there, and that's why the governor is also doing that route to create access for him to go and do ranching in those farm settlements, and that in fact he has actually sold the farm settlement. And I related it with what I saw before, a report I gave that I saw Saraha reporters, IPOB talking about selling the farm settlements and all that, the state government, for 30 billion naira to some community people, and then issuing warnings and all that. So when I tried to place these things together, like I said that these things are coming from somewhere. There are some hidden complexities, underlocking undertones, and after engaging with them, I told them the whole truth. I said, there is no way you have to believe that narrative. Because one of them also told me And I believe these are fabricated stories to exploit the vulnerability of these women, that this road, that the governor has not done this road, and he's doing the one in the farm settlement. Just trying to convince them that there is more to it. This is a federal road. The governor has no business with it except he has an arrangement with the federal government to do it. And also the Minister of Works carried out inspection here sometime last year, and they are constructing the bridge. You will see it if you get to Eha-Amufu. So the federal government has plans to do this road, but people are deceiving our people that with some of these things that the state has ulterior motives to be doing that road in the farm settlement. That's the height of ingratitude. So these were some of the things they told you. On to some other wrong and false narratives about a woman they raped, about a young man that died, just to amplify a situation and then maybe use it to achieve the objective they set out to embark on from day one. We are getting intel on some things that transpired, and I will show you people evidence much later of some names that have popped up, some that were reported by some women, those that were threatening them to mobilize others for this protest. So when people tell you it was spontaneous protest, it's not. It was planned, orchestrated, very well planned. And for me, one of the key things you need to do is, like in one of the clips I watched, someone, I call him a hype man or what, was in the background just trying to hide the situation, and I heard him say that last week 200 people were killed, this week 100 people were killed. The time of the protest. I can share the video. And then you ask yourself, if you go to Eha-Amufu now, even before now, during that protest, you did not show the burnt houses, you say ongoing killings, attacks, burning of houses. And nobody is showing, these are things that are images, graphics. Nobody is showing any of those things. People have tried to throw up one or two things, but when you see it, you see that these were things that happened 2-3 years ago. And I saw a woman there talking about what they did to her husband and herself in the last 4 years. So, in summary, we have challenges, we have issues, and we are dealing with all those things. But if it is concerning what happened in Eha-Amufu recently, there is nothing like mass killings, nothing like burning of houses and attacks by herders. It did not happen. And I can tell you, when you go, verify, ask questions. Feel free, go into the town, tell them to take you to the place all those things happen. I can bet you nobody will show you one. And for the students, and unfortunately at that, we've commiserated with the family, we interface with them. There are conflicting reports. I've given my report to security agencies, to the state government, and I believe they will make known their findings soon. And there is every pointer to the fact that what people are peddling out there, that is not what actually happened. The same for the woman that was raped from a neighboring community and from my own ward. It's unfortunate that they happened, yeah? At times you may work hard to prevent these things, but they do happen. I made arrangements. We got her treated. The report was also sent to state government when it happened. And offered to take her to Enugu, but the family rejected her. I don't know their reason, but possibly, these are locals, they've not been out here, and maybe they were afraid of maybe going to a bigger hospital, what they are not used to, not knowing what will happen there. But I can tell you the woman is hale and hearty, going about her farm business. On 2 occasions, I've sent people to check on her. They said she went to the farm. But people were in Eha-Amufu, where people were protesting, making affirmative statements that the woman has died and she was in the mortuary. And these were things that escalated these protests. Unverified narratives, false narratives. So, in summary, this is just the picture of the situation.
The chairman of Isuzu local government admitted that security challenges exist, given the vast expanse of land stretching into Benue State, comparable to the size of Belgium. However, he refuted claims of large-scale land occupation by headers, labeling some allegations as exaggerated. There has also been measures taken by the government to help mitigate the security situation across Enugu State. First is the Farm Produce City, a public-private partnership designed to open up farmlands, enhance security, and boost food production. The government believes that farm could go as far as help with what's going on through construction of roads, construction of farm settlements, and even having a public-private partnerships. It will go a long way in helping with what's going on, and that's the reasons why the Farm Produce City initiative was first, in fact, created. So that's what the government believes in. Enugu State has established a state-of-the-art command and control center, monitoring security 24/7 with over 300 digital distress response vehicles. The second phase aims to extend coverage to Isuzu, Eha-Amufu, and Uzowani, right inside the forests. And a toll-free emergency number, a dedicated hotline for reporting distress situation, is underway and will be out in a couple of days. That will be the 117 toll-free line. So wherever you are, if you find a problem where an issue of insecurity, a breakdown of law and order, you could just dial that number, just like you have reminiscence of 191 or 911, that exists in other places. There's also a security trust fund. The government has also said, look, the issue of security is not just for people, for people in government. That's the people of the state can also contribute. And I understand that when that particular security trust fund was launched on the 16th of February 2025, over 3 billion was raised, vehicles have been donated, and so it goes. It shows that people are concerned about what's going on right in your state. When the governor took over office in 2023, he says that he's going to raise the economy of the state from $3.5 billion to $40 billion or $30 billion. And of course, you cannot do that without security. Security was, in fact, one of his major priorities in making sure that at least people who are looking to invest, have some peace of mind when they do that. So it hinges on his ability to be able to keep the security for there to be some sort of growth in the first place. So as we wait the impact of some of these interventions, I'm hoping that the security situation is mitigated. We're able to contain it. I was stunned when I was taken to the Security Command and Control Center that is located in the government house. Enugu, I don't think you know the extent of what the governor has done in terms of investment in security. I don't think you know. There are certain things I cannot say, but for the benefit of this, do you know that the state now has the ability to track people who come into the state every day, who come into the state and who leaves the state? It could tell you the amount of vehicles that are in the state presently, the kind of equipment that is in that command and control. It could also tell you the people who are in the bus, can profile the people who are in the bus entering the state. It could even analyze behavior behavioral pattern of some of people. Well, that's the extent I can say. But I'm just telling you the extent of investment in security that this government has done. It's stunning. Look, I don't think anything of that exists in Africa. Quote me. These are the things that are reminiscent of what the CIA, the FBI uses to, track. That kind of thing that happens in the movies when you watch American movies, and a crime happens, and before you know it, it's the FBI, CIA deploys satellites to track whoever has done that, and they get the person. Sometimes they even use your fingerprint of the things you have touched in that area, and then they put it into the system and they get you wherever you are. They can practically track you down wherever you are. That is the extent of what I saw at this Command and Security center in Enugu. It is that vast and heavy. So those forests is what the next phase is going to do. Having to deploy equipment in those areas, having to put out some equipment in the air in those areas in order to track this. So as it is happening, you can't run. You can't run, and it has a way of, like I said, there are things I cannot really spill because even as journalists, but I'm just telling you the extent of investment that has been done in that direction, especially as it concerns security. But then we want this to move quickly so as to cover some of these areas that have been consistently been attacked. So I think I'm hope that this has taken care of some of the issues that has been brought up. There are no mass graves were false. Of course, people would want to hatch on it to spread false news, false narratives. Elections are around the corner. Everybody's pitching their tents right now. Some people are going to use that as an election bite, just to sell their candidate. We've seen that play out every now and then. But the most important thing is to be sure what the facts are, to be sure what the issues are. Peter Mbai is not a typical politician. He's not your everyday politician in Nigeria. I mean, by all standards, you could see that he's doing things far differently from what has been in existence, and everybody aligning to some of the things that he has been doing. So, as a journalist, I am not saying things from the premise of the government. I've seen it, and I have expressed this from the premise of both the people who are on the ground and of the government. And it's all up to us, to deduce what we can in this particular report. So that's, for me, what I found out going to issues, and I hope that these attacks don't happen again. We have our people go back to the farm. I mean, this is just the beginning of the rainy season, and if you have farmers who are angry, who are saddened by these attacks, nobody wants to go back to the farm. Nobody wants to go there you don't want to be killed, and you don't want to plant crops, spending monies and time and effort. At the end of the day, a cow or cows or a bunch of people coming and eat it and go scot-free. And this also leads me to that issue of Supreme Court, where we had Sunday Jackson being sentenced to death by a Supreme Court judgment that he defended himself. It was clearly a defense for himself. A header attacked him. Imagine what happened. That header attacked, and then the man was able to escape, only for his wife to fall victim, and she was raped. Imagine the man was able to overpower two of them that attacked them, and in the ensuing back and forth, because these guys would always go for the kill. They want to kill you. You attack them, you speak to them harshly, they want to kill you. And then in the ensuing difficulties within the struggle, so-called, the man kills the Fulani headsman, because that was exactly what happened in the case of Sunday Jackson in Adamawa. And it happens that now Supreme Court is reading the whole thing differently, that he would have run away at the time that he disempowered or he disarmed the Fulani headsman. That's preposterous. I'm stunned by that report. I just hope that things are done quickly, so that particular issue would be resolved. Because what that means is that farmers don't have any reason to even go to the farm, because if you go to the farm and try to even carry something for your defense, you can't use it, because if you do, the Supreme Court can sentence you to death. I'm even in the life of me, I've never heard any time or anywhere where a Fulani headsman committed a crime by eating people's crops, by killing them. At the end of the day, they caught them, locked them up, or even sentenced them and tried them for the crime that they have committed. Never heard that in this country. That's the reason why people are saying that, look, these laws that we have are not really laws that are for everybody. This is actually laws for people who are more on one part than on the other part, So this is where I rest my case on this matter. Many thanks. So you can drop your thoughts, criticize, put up your content, your thought about what's going on. Let me know what you think about this latest development. I would always love to hear from you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Cheers.